Good afternoon, Flosstube. It's Lori of MischievousStitches. I want to welcome all of you to my channel today. I'm so glad that you stopped by to visit with me because I have several things to share. I've had a good bit of time to stitch this week, to unwind, to de-stress, and I have enjoyed it. I have been able to touch each of my current focus pieces, two of which are Sal's. One is a shop model and one is just a focus piece, which I'll share with you in a moment. I also found time to frame a piece for someone special, and I have a couple of gifts and just something I picked up yesterday I wanted to share. So let's get started. So if you've watched me in the past couple of videos, I've kind of struggled with home and work life. And work has kind of taken up a lot of my time in the past few months, and I'm trying to find a way to just de-stress, and cross stitch is one of those ways, as well as just being home and relaxing. And so, like I said, this week was just a godsend. I've found time to stitch. I've found time just to be myself at home, and I've gotten a good bit of progress. I have, I'm going to share with you the 4 pieces that I'm currently working on. I've made a very loose schedule of how I'm going to stitch on them. Starting this past Monday, I worked a couple of days on this piece, which I'm not going to try to butcher the name again, but it is a Mirabilia by Nora Corbett. I think this was a commemorative piece for a retreat that she did overseas. And I started this, I think in the last video I said 2018, but that is the second mania that I joined. So I'm thinking maybe 15. I think it was the first mania I joined in. I started this piece. And so I focused on it both Monday and Tuesday, and I got a good bit of progress. So I did happen to find, I didn't know the fabric last week, and I found the tag for the fabric and with the threads, and this is Under the Sea Fabrics by Leslie, and this is Pale Petals, and it still does not come up true in this lighting. And this is more of a natural light. I was hoping to be able to see it better, but it doesn't show up as well as I'd like. But it's a 32 count, and I'm stitching it with 2 strands over 2 linen threads. And when I left you last week, I had some of the actual cross-stitched and not back-stitched vines. So just a little bit of here and a little bit of the trellis here on the edge. So I did fill in some of it up here without the beads. And I put in these 3 flowers. These leaves here but were not complete. There was only 1 or 2 colors in those leaves. So I finished out these leaves. So basically all of this right in here, I've stitched this week with the exception of this and one of those tree limbs. So I'm very happy with that progress over a couple of days. I'm really enjoying it. There's still a good bit of stitching, as you can see. So this is just, I think, Nora's drawing of the piece. I can't show you better because the pattern, of course, would be what I would share, but you see none of the flowers are there, but this gives you a good idea of, it will look similar to this. So I did put in on the young lady's head. This is the start of the top of her head. There's also beading above that, so. And this, I was stitching along with my friend Kira. She doesn't have a hashtag for it, but she is holding a stitch along for her birthday on a Mira. She started her first Mira, and I was happy to join in to celebrate her birthday with her. So the second piece that I worked on, actually on Sunday, so before Monday and Tuesday, I stitched on my weekly Sal with Christine, and this is the Bristol Squirrel sampler. I have not stitched on it today, but shortly after this video, since I'm doing a little earlier than I have been, I'm going to work on finishing this line of motifs. So as I've said before, I'm closing in on a page finish. Everything in the first 4 lines down are all on the first page or overhanging from the first onto the second. So you can see I've got a little bit of work. So last weekend I put 3 points of that star in and not the 4th. I just couldn't get into the rhythm of stitching last week. and I didn't get as much done on it, but progress is progress. But I am closing it on a page finish, so I'm thinking in a couple months I should have that page finished and starting on the next page. So I'm happy with that progress. Now this is I'm gonna show it again. This is a 36 count atomic wrench in the color Dune. I really, really love this color. You can't tell it again here, but it has a light pink undertone, which I thought went really well with the red, and it kind of brings it out better when you see it with the red stitched into it. And I'm just stitching it with one strand of DMC over 2 linen threads. And the color I think is 817. Let me check my threads. Let me put these glasses on. Yes, DMC 817, which you can see is a really bright red. I usually tend to go darker or more towards the orange shade of red, but I wanted to do something different because I've stitched several red samplers, and I like to vary the shade of red each time. So I love how it's stitching up. And I said, this is gonna be an ongoing sale. I enjoy it. I enjoy seeing the progress just one day of stitching, or actually I usually stitch no more than about 4 threads at the max, but it's amazing to me how much I can get done in that little bit of time. And I just have that one stuck in one of the mesh bags. I started using these probably 15, 20 years ago. And I just still, this is one of my favorite. I do love the fabric stitch bag, but these are so economical. And you can get them, stuff your pattern in there, and then as you accumulate the fabric or the threads or the beading or whatever you need, you can stick that on in it as you go, and I really like that. So the other thing I worked on this week was, my sal. I've got 3 sals. I thought I only had 2. This is Spring Bouquet, and it's from the Hello Spring book by Teresa Kogut. And I started this on May 1st. This one is a sal with my friends, Mary, Natasha, and April. And we're stitching this piece here, but this is the Hello Spring booklet, but this piece is called Spring Bouquet. And I am using all of the called for, I think it's, let's see, let me go to it. I've got it marked. It is Weeks Dye Works, DMC, and Classic Color Works, all but 2, and it was just when we kitted these up together, there were 2 threads that the shop we were at did not have, and we just converted it right there on the spot to something else. So everything else is as called for. And this is the fabric, is a piece of 32 count Moonstone Even Weave, and this is by Fibers on a Whim. And this is where I'm at. So when I left you last week, I just had these 2 border portions of the border done. And that was last week. And this week I decided, I worked on this Thursday and Friday. And I decided to, is that right? No, I'm telling a fib. This is my Wednesday stitch. So I only stitched on it on Wednesday. And I stitched mainly on this butterfly. So I've got mainly the one color of his outline of the wings done, and started filling them in, as you can see right here with this pink. And Okie Stitches, she joined in with us to stitch this, and I welcome her to our little stitch along. But this one, it will be, like I said, my Wednesday stitch. So the mirror for Kira, Mirror for Kira will be on Monday and Tuesday, and this one I will stitch on Wednesday. And once I finish, maybe the shop model will probably be my next finish. I plan on focusing on this more during the week. And so far, this will be my first Teresa Kogut. I have several of hers, but I have not stitched one. And so far, it's been an enjoyable stitch. And I'm stitching that again on 32 count, but I'm stitching because it is a even weave, and it's one of the thicker fabrics. It holds well for sewing in hand, so I'm stitching it with 1 strand over 2 linen threads on that one. And so Thursday, Friday, and again yesterday, I didn't bring the pattern down here, sorry. But this is Gorgeous by the Artsy Housewife. This is a shop model. And when I last shared it, I think I had the outline, no, I had a portion, I'd say maybe a third of the flower done, and this fern, this greenery here on the right, left of it. I just wasn't liking it at all. I just wasn't enjoying it. I didn't like the look of it. And so I put it down for maybe 2 weeks. And it was where I could see it. And I just thought about it because I've done that often where something is just not appealing to me. I love the colors in this one. The darker jewel type tones really appeal to me anyway. And I was stitching it one strand over 2 linen threads. And this is the bottom portion of the piece from the Bristol. So this is 36 count atomic wrench in the color Dune. And I ripped everything I had stitched out. I had stitched on it maybe 3 or 4 days, and I just ripped everything out on Friday and gave it another start. This time, I'm stitching it with 2 strands, and it's DMC threads. It does call for some of the fancy flosses. I think the Crescent colors of Stitchworkes. And I just decided to use what I had on hand, and I'm using the DMCs. I'm loving it so much more. As you can see, just in 3 days, I've gotten a lot done. So I removed both of this and then put it back in with the 2 strands. And I got over here and I was like, oh, I'm just loving it. I'm loving it. So I decided, that was on Friday evening, I think. Thursday and Friday, I did all that. And then my goal Friday evening was to sit down and put this fern in, and I ended up dropping down here and getting started on that. So when I sat down last night, I pulled over here, I wanted to get started on him. Everything you see here within these lines is going to be just the black of the raven. And I'm going to put that in, but that'll be like mindless stitching. Like the next road trip I take, I can just kind of fill that in. But I finished this up last night and started the fern here, and there'll be one more leaf of a fern leaf here. And then he's sitting in a teacup. I don't really understand this pattern, meaning I need to maybe read the caption on the pattern to see what the idea was, because she's got several of these, and it's animals with, like, he's in a teacup, things like that. But I think I'm going to change up the teacup because the teacup has Gorgeous written in it. And we all have those worded coffee cups or teacups. But I'm thinking I'm going to use the color that Gorgeous is written in and just do maybe a simple little daisy pattern or something with the same color that Gorgeous was written. But I'll decide on that later in the week. So today I will be working on my red sampler. Then I will pick this one up again, and I plan on coming down with this fern and maybe coming in with the fern over here. And this is the indentation for his wing. I may work on the wing a little bit. Just depends on the time frame. So I do have a small medical procedure tomorrow morning, and it's going to keep, the prep work is going to keep me home today. Without saying too much, those of you that have hit a significant decade like me probably knows what I'm talking about, but I'm not going to be able to leave the house this evening. And I should be fine after the procedure tomorrow morning. But with that, I keep thinking, oh, I'm going to get some stitching done today. So there's this. And my husband and I yesterday, we had planned a beach trip, again, just for the night, and the whole state was calling for rain yesterday and today, and it is very cloudy. I don't know if you can see the reflection from the window on my face, but it's very cloudy today. It was very cloudy yesterday, but we didn't see the rain till our drive home, and we didn't go to the beach. We decided we didn't want to pay for a room just to sit in the room because we couldn't go to the beach or walk the downtown river walk and things like that. So we decided to get up and go to Little Mountain, South Carolina yesterday. There's lots of junk antique shops there. And it's around an hour 15 minutes from us, so we drove up for the day. We got a late start. My husband left to get his hair cut first thing yesterday morning and had a flat tire. And it's so funny because the same thing happened with my truck last week. I got with mine, I have a newer vehicle, so I got a text first thing in the morning letting me know that the air pressure was low, and it did indeed have something in the tire. And we got a late start last Saturday, and then this Saturday, it's his vehicle, and the tire's almost flat. So we got a much later start than we originally intended to, but we drove to Little Mountain, and I think it's called Antique Market Cafe, but it is a 2-story antique junk market. It was packed. And there's an entrance. The cafe is actually in the basement. There's an entrance in the back of the building for the cafe for those who aren't there for to visit the antique shop. But the fun thing about it is you get to the back of this antique market and you smell bacon. And my husband and I, because we got the late start, I think he had had a coffee, I had had nothing. It was afternoon. I'm hungry, he's hungry, and when you smell that bacon, I didn't look at anything else after that. I just followed the signs to the cafe. And it was just sandwiches, soups, and desserts. And I had the best sandwich. It was a BLT. My husband got a BLT, but it was pecan wood smoked bacon, and my sandwich had pimento cheese on it as well, but it was spicy, which means it just had small pieces of jalapeno in it, but it was so tasty. And I don't know whether it was the combination of my hunger, the smell of the bacon, just the taste of the sandwich, but it was absolutely delicious. And if I go back to that area anytime soon, that's what I'm going to order. In fact, I tried to convince my husband to turn around so we could get a sandwich to go so I could have it today. Because I can't eat anything else for the remainder of the day today. And I thought I can get up in the morning and have that for breakfast. But anyway, if you're ever in that area, if you're in South Carolina, you're near the Columbia area, you're not too far from Little Mountain, you should go give that shop a try. It's very cool. So what else did I do? I did share with you last weekend was Mother's Day, and my daughter-in-law is also a stitcher, and she knows I do videos. She's been to a few stitching events with me locally here lately, and she made this cup for me. So she knows pink is my favorite color, and she had Mischievous Stitches put on this with a few little flowers and hearts, and I absolutely love it. I don't have anything with Mischievous Stitches on it other than my videos, so this was really nice. And for her, she finished one of her first cross-stitch pieces, and I would put the name down below, but I don't know it. Maybe I can contact her after I post this video so that I can share the pattern. But I thrifted. I told her she was going to have it framed, and I said, don't worry about that because I have the supplies here to frame it, and we can thrift a frame because I do it often. And we can paint it. If it's not the color you need, we can paint it to what you need. So last weekend, again, my husband and I ramble around, which means we just go about town running errands and meandering around the town until we come home for the day. But last week, I stopped by Goodwill, and I got her dimensions for her piece. My son Jacob measured them for me, and I found the perfect frame. So I knew she would probably need black, and I asked her whether she wanted shiny or black, and shiny or matte, and she wanted matte. And I come home last weekend and painted her frame, let it dry all week long, make sure there's, I don't want anything on her stitching, and here's her piece. So this was originally a picture frame with a mat with 3 cutouts for pictures. And it was a shiny, brassy gold from like the 90s. So I painted it with spray paint, a matte spray paint. And I removed I call it a kickstand, but it's I guess you call it the prop from the back of the cardboard on the back of the the actual frame that you would prop it up. So it's a prop, I guess, not a kickstand, but a prop. And framed it yesterday. So she has it stitched on an opalescent Ada. And it's so cute, it looks good in this frame. So I finished the framing up with some paper, some double sided tape, and I added some hardware there. But it's so cute, and I'm so happy I was able to do this with her. So I have been looking for a frame. Now, the one I recently finished was the Tangled Tidings Merry Christmas. I'm looking for a frame for that, and I should be able to thrift it because I think it's a 9 by 11, so I should, it maybe a 10 by 13 or 10 by 12. Shouldn't be so difficult to find, but I've not found anything close to that. It's always 8 by 10, so I'm hoping, I think 11 by 13 would probably, of course, work too. I really don't want that much showing, but hey, to save on the framing, I'll do it, but I just have not found a frame yet. But I keep a little notepad in my purse, and I have a couple of pieces that I'm looking for frames for, and I just jot the sizes down of the piece, and I keep a small, it's actually a measuring tape that was in an old child's toolbox that was Jacob's when he was little, so it's about like this. And I keep that for when I go to, I'm near a Goodwill, or when I remember to think about it, I go looking for those frames. So back to the cafe yesterday, I only picked up one thing. Clint found something that, a cool little thing for his office. We did last weekend get everything painted, edged, painted. It looks great in there. We did go out Sunday and we bought shelving to put up in his office, and he thinks, depending on how they look, we're going to do that today. And depending on how they look, we might add a few shelving or shelves in there as well. But he picked up something for his office, something that's specifically him. He kept looking back, but when we go junking, he's so supportive. He helps me find the things he knows I'm looking for, but he rarely, if ever, buys anything from himself. I can only think of him and buy him one thing, I think. This is the second, and it just makes me happy to be able to help him find things that he wants to, but he always hesitates when he's buying something for himself. And so I tried to push a little bit because I knew he liked it. So anyway, so he brought something home, and maybe I'll share a few pictures or share them on Instagram of his little office once we get it done. But what I did find, we're coming up here in South Carolina on the peaches are coming into season. And they've already blossomed, of course, so the peaches are growing, and the festivals start next month. Now, Georgia's the peach state, but the last time I bought peaches in Georgia, where were they from? Right here in my back door. So the towns of Johnston, Trenton, Edgefield County, and South Carolina grows lots of peaches, as well as the Ridge Spring area. As you're driving those back roads like we were yesterday, there's peach trees and pecan trees everywhere. But I found this cookbook, and I love to buy local cookbooks. The last cookbook I bought was last year, and I think it's a place, I want to say it is in Lexington, that they sell hams and preserves and things like that. It's a roadside place. And I bought a local cookbook, and even though we're in the same state, things are cooked the same, similar but different. Meaning at each little area, and I'm sure this is the same with every state, you cook things similar to others in the state, but with their own twist in that area. So I picked up this, and it's Beyond Peach Cobbler, a collection of recipes featuring women from the Lexington County Peach Festival, and this is from 2004. And I've been looking through it to see the things that are different from things here in my area. Since we're coming on peach time for the festivals, there's one that hits our area in June, and it's called the Ridge Peach Festival, not in Ridge Spring. This is in Trenton, South Carolina, which is a very small town, and they start the day off with a tractor parade, which is everyone brings out their antique tractors and drives them through the parade, and it's Americana. Tractors, American flags, peaches in the background, local musicians playing. It's wonderful, but it's hot. It's right around June is when the heat really starts showing its presence, and you want to hit that place early and leave early because it's hot. But you go and there's always fresh peach cobbler. A lot of all the roadside stands in that area are open, the well-known ones, and everyone's selling their wares, their cakes, their peaches, their jams, their jellies, their relishes, and I just love it. So the whole family usually goes. Clint, I, and the kids, and this year Cheyenne and Jacob will be with us, so it'll be something new to share with Cheyenne. But anyway, we usually come home and we'll do burgers and dogs, and sometimes I'll make a jalapeno peach jam and that kind of thing. And we always make peach tea when we come home because we've got fresh peaches. So I thought maybe I can do a new recipe from this book. And I haven't looked through it all, but I found it interesting. And then I took this along because we were on the road, and it had been a while since I had been to Little Mountain, and I thought it was a lot further away than it was. I thought it was north of Columbia, and it wasn't. But I took this kit along, and I did one of these at the end of last year, but it's a heart-shaped. And I'm not crazy about where the hangers are, so it's like something maybe you hang from your rearview mirror in your car or what have you. But I'm not crazy. I thought maybe if I could somehow, with a handsaw, take that hanger off and just leave this one so that it hangs like this. But we'll see. But it's very small. Let me see if I can flip it. I'll just pull this up. So you can see that's the size of the flag. And it's just a wooden blank, and I've stitched four of these types pieces now, and I really like them. It's fun to stitch. It's easy to stitch as a car stitch a piece because see here you've got three threads, not that many color changes. Of course you need your needle and your scissors, but I will say if you're stitching something like this, the curved needles I think may be something that you might want to consider, because if you're stitching in the center of the piece, I did find it, and I found that I had bent over time. I had bent my needle, so you don't want to use a thin needle. You want to use one of the thicker ones. I think maybe the 24, 28. Well, 24 are the small ones, aren't they? But a larger needle, larger and circumference, so that you can get it under there and then pull it out without bending, breaking it. But the curved needles may be, but overall it's still a fun stitch. So I'll probably take this along. We've got another planned little trip this coming weekend, and it's coming up on Memorial Day weekend, so everything's going to be Americana this week, and I'm excited about that. So I'm looking forward to starting that one. And I had a giveaway last week, and I gave away, did I leave them upstairs? Well, I'll just take this one out. I had a giveaway for this pattern here, and this is American Blue. And I did that on purpose because, again, next weekend's Memorial Day. I kept one for myself, so I actually have two names this week because I had two patterns. I think. Was it 4 or 3? At least 2. If it's a third one, I'm still going to put, and I want to apologize to those that won last week. I never went and put congratulations on your actual comments from the previous video, so I'm going to do that today when I alert these winners. And if there is a third pattern, and they're upstairs, so I'm having a hard time remembering. I know there's at least 2. I know I kept 1. I can't remember if there were 4 or 3 originally. With that being said, I will still leave you a comment down below if there is a third one. I'll go look as soon as the video is filmed. But I want to congratulate A Prater, APRATER00. She commented that she'd like to stitch her American Blue in purple, which is going to look amazing. And then D Chrisman 2219, congratulations to both of you. You've won a copy of American Blue. I received so many comments. I'm going to notate that real quick so I'll remember to go do that. I did, the one I gave away last weekend that I announced the winners was this one. Now, Miss Iris Cope won a copy, and she did contact me after watching my video, so I got hers. The other was Leslie Reinhardt and Bonnie Deering, and those ladies are the ones I need to apologize to because I forgot to congratulate them on their comment. So they didn't know they won it because obviously they didn't watch last week's video, so they didn't see it. But I'm going to notify them today. But after doing this video, guess what I went out and did? It's Memorial Day weekend next weekend, followed behind 4th of July, and then again in September with Patriots Day. The whole summer is all about Americana, right? So I ordered a piece of 36 count raw Edinburgh linen for American Blue. And I actually ordered some 931, but I think I want to go a shade darker. It calls for blue jeans. So I'm going to go darker with it, but I did order the threads, and they came Friday. But it's going to look great on this fabric. Like I said, this is the call for fabric if you didn't already know. And I may or may not give that one a start just for fun for the holiday. So there's that. And then I also got another piece of fabric, and I don't know where I stuck. Oh, this is the stitch along that was stressing me out a little bit a couple of videos ago. And it's a local group is doing the block party. And this is Mend by Hands On Designs. And I hadn't even started it, and I had pulled it out after finishing up my past two pieces. I was going to start it and didn't have the fabric. I had never ordered the fabric. And I knew there was no way for me to get this done by the first week of June. There was just no way. And I decided just to back out of it. Well, when I ordered the American Blue fabric, I ordered a piece of a 1/4 yard of 28 count ice blue Lugana. It doesn't call for that. It calls for Dusty Miller linen, 28 count. And I have 28 count ice blue, but I like it. I think it's going to work just fine. And it just so happened that this very week, not long after I decided I'm just not going to do it. I'm just going to go to the class, learn how to put the piece together, learn the tips and tricks, and just stitch it again at some other time. Well, there were others that were stressing out. Some had finished it, many hadn't, and several people were stressing about it, so they moved it further out. So I was so excited about that. So this will be another upcoming start so that I can participate in the class, but I'm sorry that the class rescheduled, but at the same time, it benefited me, and so I'm happy with the, as far as having the ability to participate with a finished piece, and that makes me happy. And then I got a few gifts this week from a friend, and it just made my day. So I want to share those things with you. Lottie Da is one of my all-time favorite designers, and here's a piece I didn't have, and it's my friend. And it's a piece from the Silver Needle with one of their clubs, and it's A Little Help from Our Friend's Stitching Circle. And so I have everything inside and the pattern to finish up this piece on this tray. And here's the tray. Look at that heart. Look at that. I'm so excited. This is definitely going to be an upcoming start. I try to stitch a Lottie Dot every year, at least one. And I haven't even chosen one this year, but this is going to be it. I'm going to tell you, this is going to be it. And a few other things. I'm putting it back in its packaging. But there was a few other things that came with it. And it was all kind of beach themed. So it was this with everything to do it. But a little beach ball. It's having a ball. It's by Noteworthy Needle. And I think it was commemorative piece from one of the Pals retreats that used to occur in Myrtle Beach. They were hosted by Down Sunshine Lane. And isn't that so cute? So it's it's kitted inside, and there's a piece of fabric where you stitch the colors of this beach ball, and it's a pincushion. So cool. And then this is a lounging chair. And again, it's a stitching at the beach piece. And everything you need inside, so you'll be stitching the stripes. And let me show you the little chair. So it comes with the colors that you'll be stitching on the chair and it shows you how it's going to look. Oh, it's written. Is it written? It says stitching at the beach. And so there's the fabric. So another little kit. Such a great idea. Thinking outside of the box. Not something framed, not something in a pin pillow. And it doesn't end. So I've been excited about hands-on designs, so I was passed on. Look at that. It's called the Humble Tomato Pincushion. So it's finished up to look like a tomato top, and it's finished on an embroidery hoop. And again, some of the finishing supplies there. So cool. Follow the stars. Follow the stars, find your safe harbor. Another hands-on design piece. Knee High by the 4th of July. There's a cornfield I pass on the way to work. The area I work in is a farming community, and the corn is already probably to my shin, not quite my knee, but it's growing. And then this one is With Thy Needle and Thread, and this is I love fall the most of all. And I do, I really do. So cool. And one more. And I had an Erica Michaels piece that was the retreat piece from Barefoot in February, but this is a Pal Stitch Retreat from 2015. This is Beach Blessing by Erica Michaels. And this is May You Always Have a Shell in Your Pocket and Sand in Your Toes. Love it, love it. Don't you just love good friends? I know I love mine. So what else do I have this week? I think that's it. Like I said at the beginning, just some gifts and some focusing on my current pieces and the frame piece. So I think I've showed you everything. So this week, I'm going to continue to focus on my pieces, primarily on my shop model. I'd like to knock that out this week. I know that's a lot. It's a goal. I will still touch my other pieces this week because it has made me so happy to be able to actually touch each one of my rotation pieces this week. It's just calmed me. It makes me happy. Every stitch means I'm getting closer to that finish. It makes me happy. I will say, I saw someone this week. I saw actually last night. I wish I had written down the person's name, but it was a lady whose mother was a stitcher. The daughter was a stitcher too, but the mother was a stitcher, and she passed away. And so instead of the daughter trying to finish up the pieces, the whips that her mother had, she had them made into a quilt as is. Those that are partially stitched, some were completed. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. The important part for her was its pieces her mother had stitched. It wasn't as important that they were finished. And that idea appeals to me because finishing things or having a lot of whips, I understand for myself, can be stressful, and especially if you're even taking on someone else's, even though they're not your own, the pressure of stitching on or trying to finish those things, I can understand. And I love the way she went with the idea that she wanted to honor her mother. She wanted to showcase her mother's stitching, but found a way to do that without pressuring herself. And I absolutely loved it. I thought it was a great idea. So thank you for watching today. I'm going to list my daughter-in-law's Instagram down below, so that if you're interested in going and following her and just pushing forward a new cross stitcher, you can do so. And I will also leave comments on those that won from the last video, which was the American Blue. And until next weekend, hugs and stitches. Bye-bye.